Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of Chicago. It is June 12th, 2013, and you're listening to another episode of
Bites Over Bagel!
With me in the studio, as always, is one Miss Heather Brown.
Hello, kid.
One Mr. Brett Mackey.
Hi.
And everyone's favorite nemesis, Dave Seidler. Howdy, y'all. I'm your host, John Osler. We got another great show for you per usual. On today's show is
Justyn Howard, founder and CEO
of SproutSocial.
SproutSocial.
Yeah, nice.
That was SproutSocial.
I had to think about that for a minute. We also have a lot of four more startups on Chicago Tech Startup Madness. We're drinking coffee. We're ready to go. We're ready to get on with the show. The title of today's episode is
All you Ruby on Rails developers, you
Yeah.
talented UX engineers, and you passionate folks about open source technology, listen up. Innova is your company. They're a growing e-commerce company who's always looking for top tech talent to join them in all fields. To learn more, check them out at innova.com and click on careers. That's ENOVA.com and click on careers.
It's now time for Chicago
Tech
Up.
Madness. So, everybody, four more startups today. Week 3 closing, week 4 closing. Check out the bracket at bytesoverbagels.com. So, let's get started. Brett, per usual, let's kick it off.
What are we in for, kids?
I am planting my seed this week at everylastmorsel.com.
Wow.
Oh, easy, guys. Easy, guys.
Wow.
Easy, guys. It's
already
a
the
pretty
best
simple
ever.
concept. It's not weird. It lets gardeners drop. Gardeners drop a pin on a map wherever their gardens lie in order to inform neighbors and friends of any surplus veggies
Oh, that's great.
and such that they'd like to donate, barter, or sell. So it also gives the gardener a profile to update with all the nutritious goodness that he's growing, and gives them a platform for sharing information and pro tips and stuff on gardening and growing at home. So all in all, I'd say it's a feel good and a taste good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But really, it's like this, you techaroos. Your old neighbor, Winkle DeVille, spent the entire spring bent over his city garden like the hunchback of Notre Dame. And not a novice gardener is he, no siree. With a thumb so green, you'd think he just goosed the jolly green giant. So there he is, admiring his bounty of beets and bushels of basil, but all you can think to yourself is, how can I get my hand on old Winkle's carrot? Not too weird of a thought, considering you're highly addicted to the wild juice stylings of Juice Lalane. But what would old Winkle thinkle if you walked over to ask for a bushel of his orange javelin juice sticks right out of the blue? Well, never fear, my web-weathered friend, the internet saves you once again. Old Winkle's vast patch of vegetable collectibles are available for sale on a soon-to-be huge site called Every Last Morsel. And faster than Peter Rabbit left Farmer McGregor standing in a pound of Peter pellets, you're sipping from the froth of a City Farm fresh carrot juice cocktail. And Winkle counts the cash from the labors of his seed. So I said soon to be a huge site because Every Last Morsel is currently working their way to a launch through a little accelerator called Cool House Labs, which is cool. I can wait. Gives me something to look forward to. And it reminds me of my favorite quote, which I just looked up 10 minutes ago. He plants trees to benefit another generation. And that, my friends, is what Every Last Morsel is all about. So let's pump these guys up full of fertilizer and vote them up at Every Last Morsel.
Ooh.
Yay.
Like it. My startup is Power to Switch. You guys heard of these guys? Do you want to save money on your electricity bill? I think.
No, not really.
No, you want to pay
That
more?
would be wonderful, Dave.
wouldn't
Tell
mind.
us more.
If you want to pay more, that's fine.
I have my
if you want
family.
to save money, head on over to Power to Switch. It is a website. Super simple. You enter in your zip code. You choose a provider based on the zip code that you live in, and you switch to a cheaper plan. It's an aggregated data site where you can search different plans and see what the prices are per plan. And it's really that easy. Go there, type in your zip code, choose a cheaper plan, get hooked up, and make the switch.
Dang, girl.
At Power to Switch, the number 2.
Okay.
Sweet.
Heather, what you got, girl?
Today I have wedding mix. All you folks out there getting married or have friends getting married or family getting married or, person on the street getting married that you want to go to their wedding. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ooh, creeper.
apparently it is hard, and I can understand this with my sister just getting married. It's hard to, get video of your wedding, some awesome clips going on, and it's expensive to hire a videographer. So this wedding mix is a crowdsourced edited wedding video. You rent their cameras. You can rent their cameras, but they also have a mobile app, which works on your phone, works on your iPad, and you can just share the app. It's a free app. You can share the app with all your friends and family, and they could take video during the wedding. And it's really cool because then you can go online and you can see all your footage, and then they will edit it for you. And it's a lot cheaper than getting something through a professional videographer.
Because they'd be expensive.
They'd be expensive.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And then you get to keep all the raw footage, and then they will also edit the video down for you. So it's really cool. They said that their custom editing workflow has reduced the cost for like every couple by crazy percentage. So it's really cool. So anyway, check them out. Wedding Mix, and vote them up at Wedding Mix. Oh, sorry.
No. I was just saying, I'm going to renew my vows.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
pretty
do the
cool.
whole thing again.
I know.
So
I was like, I wish I knew that
Wait,
with
you
my
wanna get
sister's
married?
wedding.
Yeah, Dave, let's do it.
Let's get married.
So I'm representing Ad Yapper. AD. That's an ad, like advertisement. Yapper. Man, this is a great idea. I wanted to do this idea, and I'm actually glad to see that someone's doing it. Over at 1871, adyapper.com. They are allowing anyone to go in and add an advertisement, whether that's print, whether that's a TV ad, any kind of like advertising medium you can put in the system, and then users go in and they rate whether they loved it or hated it. The reason I think is great because there are some ads that I think companies spend a ton of money on that are the worst ads I've ever seen. Like, not tasteful, not good. Let's come up with an example right now. Somebody who would never sponsor the show. Burger King. Has anyone seen the latest Burger King ads?
No.
I haven't.
It's honestly as if a bunch of people got together at like a community, like neighborhood community meeting. It's like, hey, let's do a Burger King ad where there's a guy dressed in a fry suit and like, it's the worst. They went from the best ads to the worst ads. So
We're sorry if you work at Burger King, anyone.
no, I'm not sorry. So basically, I'm going to go to Ad Yapper today and add every Burger King ad that's on television right now and talk about how they are the worst ads ever. And they probably spend, what, $250,000 on each of these? Anyway, I digress. This site needs to exist because I think advertisers ultimately need to know how they're performing, which, by the way, Ad Yapper allows you to do. It allows you to create a more like a corporate account in the system and actually track the advertisements that you're putting in the system. So it's nice. It's not only just a tool for brands who spend too much money on terrible ads, like Burger King, but it also helps us users get excited or angry based on our tastes and advertisements. I love this. I love this product. Check out this site. It's great.
You're stressed about Burger King for some reason.
It really
Yeah,
is.
I'm pretty mad.
You have a bad burger last night?
No, I didn't. I had a good burger, actually.
Yeah, you did?
Ever since they changed that fry recipe, John's just been really pissed.
yeah,
It's been
yeah,
years,
yeah.
too. Yeah.
So that concludes the Chicago Tech Startup Madness. Once again, you could vote on the website. If you go to BuzzForBagels.com, you'll see a bracket there. Who knew there was an actual bracket for the
Wow.
Bracket Madness? And you could just hit vote there, and that's just going to make a tweet for you. You can just Twitter it out, and you can retweet to vote too. Votes are collected for 2 weeks on each group that's talked about, like today. And at the end, the winner is going to get a sweet prize pack and an interview on the show. So vote them up, y'all. Vote them up.
Today's bagels are brought to you by NYC Bagel Deli and Catering. Head on over there, get some kettle baked goodness today. You know you want to. And Dave.
And if you're thirsty, today's coffee is brought to you by Bo Truss. Check them out at botruss.com.
Today's feature interview is with Justyn Howard. He's the founder and CEO of SproutSocial.
It's Justyn with a Y.
It is.
Folks.
Justyn with a Y. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming aboard. So why don't we start the interview out with you explaining to the listeners a little bit of what SproutSocial is.
Yeah, so SproutSocial is a social media management platform. It's an application that our customers, businesses use to manage their social presence more efficiently. So we have many customers around the world, neighborhood of 10,000 organizations who use Sprout on a daily basis to manage their social media presence, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, those sorts of things.
Can you just step us back a little bit and tell us how you came up with the idea for SproutSocial, what the team looked like in the early days?
Yeah, it's, I think probably a pretty typical story. So I was working for another software company in a sales role in an enterprise software company, and had always been sort of a student of technology. I programmed way back in the day, and always looking for ways that I could use technology to shortcut whatever it was that I needed to do.
Justyn is lazy.
I'm lazy.
All right.
Which
That's going to be the title of this episode.
Which, as you guys know, lazy is usually the catalyst for some of the best ideas in the world, right?
Yeah.
So,
Ooh, good recovery.
looking for ways that that technology could help me do my job better, started to figure out that things like LinkedIn and a little later Twitter and Facebook could potentially be a good place, a good utility for someone like me to do my job better and more efficiently, create relationships with customers. So, started to think about what would a tool that harnesses that look like? And from the idea that social networks at their foundation have to be very simple to be successful, right? Facebook and Twitter have to be extremely easy to use. But that doesn't leave a lot for business capabilities on top of that. So the things that myself as a professional might want it to do, it doesn't inherently do. And what would a tool that did all of those things look like? And so got together with a couple of people that I know, friends of mine who are very good technologists, and started building something toward the end of 2009, and built sort of an early prototype, got some customers using it, and just sort of grew from there. We took our first investment in the beginning of 2010 and grew the team from what was originally 4 of us to what is now about 80 people here in Chicago.
What's the biggest difference in the product from maybe the original vision to what it is now? Something that maybe...
Yeah, so I think the biggest difference in capabilities, well, there's 2 kind of major areas. One is that early on we thought that it was going to be a lot more about pushing content out and promotion and sort of, putting marketing content out into the world. And we pretty quickly learned that, in fact, the opposite was maybe more important in the long run. So as brands were successful in social channels, they needed a way to have to be responsive and engaging with their audience. So we're spending a lot more time focusing on the inbound, the listening and the response and the engagement side of things. The other is that, early we set out to make social media something that anybody could get involved with and really reduce the learning curve and make it approachable for businesses who were just getting their feet wet. And that, I think we did a good job with that, but over, that first maybe year, that problem wasn't as big of a problem to solve anymore. People were comfortable with it. They were using Twitter and Facebook. So then it became about finding or figuring out those next set of complex capabilities. And if you think about it, we're building software in a space that didn't exist 5 years ago, that the requirements and the capabilities, nobody knew what they wanted. And still to some degree they don't. They're figuring it out over time. So we're building against this kind of ever-evolving roadmap. But the biggest difference is that we're solving much more complex problems today than we were early on, when it was just about let's make this attainable and approachable for all types of businesses. Now we're saying, let's really put some horsepower into the hood and make our customers successful with it.
So one of the things we started to talk about in some of these interviews and things like that is talking about the growth, getting to the point where you guys are right now, and figuring out ways to talk about growing something from seeds. In terms of product development, was that something where you guys sort of came up with some kind of iteration structure and you tried things and then came back and refined them, or did you go on these larger bursts, or how did that sort of evolve?
Yeah, so early on, it's pretty interesting. So we launched our first product in would have been August, September of 2010. almost immediately we decided that we had to rebuild the whole thing. So we put this product out, and that's kind of the kiss of death a lot of times is if you're rebuilding kind of after launch, that's tough times typically. But we saw that the product that was going to take us 5 years into the future was not the same one that we had spent the last year building, and we just said, we have to do this. We want to do it right. It turned out to be the best thing we ever could have done when we released that next version of the product, which took us almost another 10, 11 months to get that one shipped. But that's when the trajectory of the company really kind of took off. I mean, that's revenue growth, all the things that we've enjoyed were kind of from that point forward. So that was kind of a major, I won't call it an iteration because it was a rebuild, but even now, there's decisions that we made as part of that product that we'll revisit, and we'll realize that we could have done it maybe a little more efficiently, or we could have built it in a little more flexible way. So we will go back occasionally and revisit older pieces of the technology, but we've been fortunate to not accumulate a bunch of technical debt where we're rebuilding all of those things. We made some pretty solid decisions. Aaron and his team made some of those decisions early on that have helped us scale really well.
So was that big rebuild, the initial one, was that due mostly to technology, or was it some market indications? Like, what were you basing that on?
Yeah, it was, the capabilities. So we, as I mentioned, we built early on for kind of ease of use, and we wanted to have this thing that everyone could learn and get up to speed with quickly. And then very shortly after releasing that product, we realized that the people who were getting the most value out of what we do had a more sophisticated set of needs. So we just said, there were some things that we were planning on building down the road that we just want to build them now. So things like a collaborative environment where we can have dozens or hundreds of people working in the same inbox, as an example, and not getting in each other's way. So it was primarily, there were some architectural things that we changed, but they were all to support kind of this just more sophisticated feature set.
What time do you get up in the morning?
Yeah, we ask everybody what time they get up in the morning.
What time you get up?
What's the daily like? But yeah, we want to know the bedtime for sure.
It's normal. So I wake up at 9. I do.
Whoa!
That's the latest yet.
Yeah, that's the latest.
Is it? We've asked everybody, and they're all getting up at like 5:30. Something stupid.
Yeah. See,
We're not that good.
I'm not on that version of the schedule. So I'll wake up at 9. First shift is like 9 to 7, and then I'll usually work until 2 or 3.
Oh dear.
Yeah, well,
burner on both ends. That's the difference.
That's the majority of the
So you beat people the night before.
Yeah. So when they're waking up, I'm winding down.
Yeah,
and that works well. I mean, I've always been a little more efficient working on sort of the creative side of what we do when I'm working late hours and sort of inside my own head. So it works out well. But it is tough because as CEO you have to kind of keep the day shift too. You've got to take meetings and you've got to work normal hours and be there for the team and all those things. But then I go home and that's when I get to work for me.
And you guys say that you're the best customer for your own product, right? I mean, you guys use this Sprout for a lot of what you do. Can you talk about that, like how you guys use your own product? Yeah, so
kind of an interesting fact about Sprout on our business is, we have, as I mentioned, 10,000 customers around the world that are using our product every day in high volume, right? And we're able to support that with just 3 support people. We have 2 in sort of traditional support roles and 1 who's manning our social channels. And one of the reasons for that is that we use our own platform to conduct a lot of that. Everything that comes through, probably half of our customer service and support goes through social media channels. Therefore, it goes through our own platform. And we've made it so efficient to work with that we're able to do that high volumes with low resources. So that's one aspect that's helped us be really successful. So, if you watch Twitter, you'll see that we're regularly praised for the quality of our service, and it's all done really effectively through our platform. And then the other is that our customers are social by nature. When they find a good product, they talk about it. And in the early days, and it was extremely important. I'd say the volume is higher today, but back then, just engaging with our customers through social channels and talking with them and having them evangelize our tools was extremely important to our growth. And I'd say today, outside of direct acquisition channels, AdWords and display and things like that, social is certainly our biggest source of new business. And all of that comes through the work that we're doing in our own platform. So the fact that we're engaging with all of our customers, we have policies around our social media engagement that if someone is going to take the time and talk about us in those channels, that they're going to get some kind of response from us. And that's gone a long way toward just building the certainly building our customer base, but also just building kind of the goodwill and sentiment of our audience.
It's now time for the most important question in the interview. What is your favorite bagel, and how do you like it prepared?
Jalapeno extra cream cheese.
Boom, that was the quickest answer.
Jalapeno cream cheese? You ever had that?
If I can get it, sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know where you can get it?
No.
New York City Bagel Deli and Catering.
Oh, shit.
That happens to be our bagel sponsor, but they send us over some jalapeno cream cheese weekly, and it's
apparently really good. I don't eat it.
Divine.
This isn't just a lame plug. It's good.
So for those listening, where should they go to find out more, to be involved? Should they start tweeting at you guys, just harassing you to get the feed?
I mean, test what I said. Like, send us a tweet and see how quickly you get a response.
Ooh.
It's the power of Sprout. But SproutSocial.com is the website. SproutSocial.com/insights is our blog. That's a place where you can find useful information for anyone who's trying to be more successful with social media for business.
Do you blog?
Yeah, but
It's a lot of effort.
Kimmy, this guy writes books.
Ghostwriter.
All right.
Yeah, it's something that I'd like to do more of, but time gets away from you.
Well, Justyn, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, you bet.
Hopefully it was as high pressure as we made it out to be.
Every bit.
All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot.
This week's awesomeness is brought to you by the Chicago band Bastardgeist. Check them out at bastardgeist.bandcamp.com. They are also going to be performing June 15th at the Hideout and June 26th at Quencher's Saloon. Check them out.
And that concludes episode 17 of Voice Over Bagels! Join us on the show next week where we'll feature
Chuck Templeton, Managing Director of Impact Engine.
Hell yeah, gonna be a good interview. Tune in for that. As always, you can check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams.
And the Vines.
And the Vines. Or there's also an email sign up on our website. Did you know that? You should sign up for the email. We're going to start sending out some deets before the deets come out. And finally, Chicago Tech Startup Madness, my friends. Vote 'em up. Vote 'em up. That concludes today's show. Have a good week.